All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the special meeting on behalf of the Board of Commissioners, Commissioner Tell, Commissioner Candelaria, myself, Commissioner Sukla, and County Administrator Shaq Powers, along with our Clerk and Recorder Kim Purcell and the County Attorney John Baxter. If you would you please rise and let's say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. The purpose of this meeting is the Montezuma County had put out a request for a variance from the strict guidelines from the state of Colorado. I don't know, it was about 7 or 10 days. Anyway, we learned that yesterday that we were, actually it was late the night before last. Tuesday night, that our variance request was denied. And so what Montezuma County did is we went straight to work for our community. We came up with counters to why we think that the variance should have been accepted instead of denied. And at 4 o'clock yesterday, we had a meeting with the CDPHE on why there was a denial. That meeting, if anybody was able to watch it, they couldn't answer one question, why we were denied. And so here we are today. And what we've got is we really don't have an agenda, but we have 3 things that we want to discuss. The first thing that we would like to talk about is Montezuma County had declared a state of emergency back at the very start. One of the reasons for that was nobody knew what the coronavirus was, and also there was funding tied to that. We feel now that it is time that there is not a health emergency in Montezuma County anymore, and we would like to rescind this resolution. So, Commissioners, is there any discussion about this first item of business?
I guess my first question, which I was just kind of alluding to that earlier, is the reason that we did this was for the economic benefit of being able to recoup some of the funding that we are spending personally, and or what's coming down from either the state and or the Fed. So that was my question. If we rescind this, are we still falling under the declaration of the state? Because in the beginning, I think they did say that if the counties did not do this, would still fall under that declaration of the state. Is that correct?
I'm not sure how technically that works, Jim. Probably if the state declares a statewide emergency, which I don't know if Governor Polis did that or not, but I have a feeling he did, then I would say yes, that encompasses the entire state. Each individual county then went from there and declared their own state of emergency within their county. And I think you're correct. I think it was just to garner benefits from FEMA, from federal monies and other monies that come in to help you combat or prepare for your health emergency, which it's kind of ironic. We don't have a health emergency here. So I think it's kind of redundant for us to have a declaration of a health disaster emergency in Montezuma County when I don't think we have that. So I think we're very appropriate in the state can do whatever the state wishes to do. If Governor Polis continues to want to have the state declared an emergency whole emergency, then fine for him. But I don't think that I'm going to be complicit with us doing a Montezuma County health disaster emergency when I don't see one. I don't believe there's one here. So.
And I feel the same way. For me, it doesn't matter what the states, where they stand on the health emergency. Montezuma County, I've been all over this county, and there is not a health emergency.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, I mean, we can look at the numbers of 25, which is the total reported.
Right.
15 are no longer within that 25, so it's 10.
So we have 10 active cases of COVID-19 in Montezuma County.
I guess my question was just, by rescinding this, are we totally taking away the allocation of funds that are going to be allocated to us from?
I think our emergency manager has been tracking. He's brought us numbers. I think 100 and some odd thousand.
Yeah, 140 something.
And of that 140,000, we know where 100. I think
100,
there was.
108.
Was right at 100. Yeah.
And
yesterday.
so we've got minimal outside exposure as to the cost of what this has brought to us. And so I don't see where we're gonna go. Our hospital is geared up. They're getting their testing machine, should be here, I think, Friday, this week, their testing machine. So that should keep them with the ability to test any and all cases or whatever they want to test come before them. I don't see where we need, or we don't know if we're going to get reimbursed for those charges we've got anyway. We're just keeping a tally of what
correct.
the cost has been. We don't know if we're going to get reimbursed for those or not.
Well, it was only at 70%.
75%.
75% anyway in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
That's all we
And
read, so.
The most of the money that we've spent that can be reimbursed is the money that we spent to help the hospital purchase
Right.
their BM Max analyzer, and that fell during that time anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we don't have a health state of emergency here. What we have is we have an economic emergency here.
Amen.
And so I think the first order of business, but this resolution didn't have a number, Shaq?
think we're
So
just
we
gonna
did
have to-
number 7 last week, so we would be at resolution number 8-2020.
All right, well, is there any more discussion, commissioners, on rescinding the declaration of local health emergency?
Does Jim Spratlin, I mean, can we ask him the question? Is this, I
I don't want to
know if he's out
convolute
there,
this.
so-
Yeah,
I mean, he doesn't even live here. We do. We know if there's an emergency or not, and it's just wasting time. We need to speed up. Our constituents are hurting. Let's quit beating around the bush. Let's go for it.
I think from what I view and what I know going on in my county and this county right now
Yeah.
as of today, and the way our hospital is and what's going on with this supposed pandemic, we do not have a health disaster emergency in this county. And I think it's foolish for us to have that on the books simply for financial reasons of hopefully reimbursement of monies that we have.
Commissioners, I should add that we did reference it in some of the contracts we made, I think with, the hotel and some other things as far as funding goes,
Right.
just so you guys are aware. It likely does put us at risk for losing some of the reimbursement monies.
But we're not using those hotels anyway, and from the way things are at this state, we're not going to use them. There's 0 patients in our hospital, so the hotels were only for overflows and stuff if our hospital couldn't handle them. Is that correct?
Well, they were also for if someone had no place to quarantine, but was not sick enough to be hospitalized.
I think that one fell to the tier 3 or
Yeah.
tier 4, whatever.
Yeah.
They had it 4-tiered.
No.
And again, I would just like to go to common sense. If you have an emergency, you have a declaration of emergency. If you do not have an emergency, you do not have a declaration of emergency. How much harder is it than that?
Yeah. I have to agree with that. I will make the motion that the Board of County Commissioners of Montezuma County, with resolution number 8-2020, rescind the declaration of a local health disaster emergency in Montezuma County.
Resolution number 8, second.
There's been a motion and a second to rescind the declaration of local health disaster emergency, resolution number 8-2020 for the county of Montezuma County. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. The resolution number 8, local health disaster emergency, is been rescinded. So we really don't have an agenda, but we have a letter. So well, let's go to this. We do have another resolution. Sorry, folks. So what this is here is the commissioners were sent this from another county, the Fremont County, exactly was the county. And what this is the JBC, the Joint Budget Committee, is recommending trying to suspend the senior citizens and disabled veterans real property tax exempt. And we here in Montezuma County feel the same way as Fremont. That is a no-no. We cannot take away that exemption for taxes on our elderly and on our veterans. And I can give an example of why. If there was somebody, and I've told the story before, but we've all heard it, where there was a person on fixed income. They said, if you mess with my income one way or the other, I will not be able to pay my mortgage, and I will have to go to a nursing home, which we know what the cost of that is. So it would cost the counties more money by taking this away, and it'd also be an injustice to these people that are this age. Any discussion, commissioners?
I think that people need to realize out there that looking at the JBC, what the state is trying to do right now is they're trying to balance their budget, and they have to come up with a $3 billion shortfall right now. So they're looking at cutting anything and everything that they possibly can, which is the last number that I read, I think yesterday, was a $3 billion.
Yep.
And they've only cut about $500 million.
And they're
So-
looking for the low-hanging fruit, which this is low-hanging fruit, and they think this is an easy place to go get some money, and I think it's a terribly wrong place for them to go get money, and I think they need to start looking at cutting real cuts in the state budget and start finding real places where they need to start reducing how the state is spending their money, and I don't think this is the appropriate place for them to start looking.
Well, and we
This is-
have a lot of seniors in our community.
Yeah,
along
this is
with, I
easy
think,
money. This is stuff they
2,200
think they can
vets.
jump in there and take away from the seniors and the veterans and have easy money. And they need to start looking at the hard money. They need to start looking at hard money to get. And that's looking at the staffing of that state government and all. There are a lot of places they need to start looking to cut, and they're going to have to if they're going to think they're going to come up with $3 billion. I'm going to tell you, there's going to be some gigantic cuts in that state budget. Gigantic cuts.
And that was the last number that I had read that they have to cut.
Yeah,
It's $3 billion.
and it may get worse than that if that Gallagher amendment kicks in the way they think it possibly could. It may be way more than that.
So do we need to display this, Shaq, or?
I've got it displayed right here.
So is it going to be resolution number 9?
Correct.
Any other discussion, commissioners, before we take
No.
action?
Not for me.
I think we discussed it
You
also.
want to make it or me?
Resolution number 9, 2020, opposition to the JBC recommendation to suspend the senior citizens and disabled veterans real property tax homestead exemption under the CRS 39-3-203.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second to support resolution number 9-2020. It's a resolution for the opposition to the Joint Budget Committee recommendations to suspend the senior citizens and disabled veterans real property tax homestead exemption. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Is this this is the letter?
That's it.
So, Shaq, why don't you read this
Yeah,
letter?
read
Where this letter came from, we're not the first county that's done this letter. This letter was sent to the commissioners from another county, Rio Blanco County. And if you would read this letter, this is something that we would like to take action on today after some discussion.
To the citizens of Montezuma County, Colorado, first and foremost, we, the Board of County Commissioners, commend our community for the way it has conducted itself in the face of COVID-19. As expected, we have all pulled together separately to protect ourselves and our neighbors. We want to point out that Montezuma County never took steps to close any private business or place of worship and have pushed back against the state's front-range, one-size-fits-all orders in favor of local control at every opportunity. We have tried to support those businesses that made the choice to comply with the multitude of sometimes conflicting orders being issued by the Governor of Colorado. However, we have no control or authority over your private business. What we do have is a strong desire to support all Montezuma County businesses in any way we can. As we have reopened county offices, we cannot advise local businesses on what they should do. Those are business decisions that you have to make. All we can ask is that you continue to display common sense and make decisions that are in the best interest of your business and your customers. The mission of Montezuma County is to provide services in a fair, respectful, and professional manner consistent with the customs and culture of the citizens of Montezuma County. Montezuma County is known for the fierce independence and patriotism of its citizens. Your fierce independence and patriotism are needed now. Sincerely, Board of County Commissioners of Montezuma County, Colorado.
And I would just like to make one more point, and I think we've said that, I think we said that in the meeting yesterday with the CDPHE, is that we did not close any businesses here, and we have been taking away our authorities to open any businesses here. So we are absolutely handcuffed. But, you know, I do think that the businesses that are able to operate are doing a good job, and they're working at trying to do what they can, and we absolutely support that.
Well, and we've all seen over the course of the last 2 months since this whole COVID-19 pandemic started, we've watched Walmart, we've watched City Market, we've watched Safeway, we've watched lumber and hardware stores, we've watched marijuana shops, we've watched liquor stores cater to every piece of the public that has come in and wanted to do trade with them. There's been business as usual going on in Montezuma County, and our numbers have not jumped off the charts. We have not leapt into that pandemic place where we saw exponential numbers of COVID-19 cases. We've had a very one a day, maybe a very marginal increase. We've got 9 active cases in Montezuma County today, and for 2 months, business has been going on as usual in many of our, and the governor, I guess yesterday when he was talking to Trump, he was somewhat correct. There have been a lot of businesses open in this state. And I named them: grocery stores, Walmart, hardware stores, liquor stores, marijuana stores. Those have been open to the public and doing business. Nothing has changed basically fundamentally in our COVID-19 results. We have seen a very marginal increase over the course of those two months. And I think it's time now to let other legitimate businesses, restaurants, gymnasium, whatever else, open their doors and start to save themselves from the brink of disaster. There's going to be an economic disaster here, and that's for sure.
And Commissioner Ertel, I would like to add that the governor began closing down businesses on March 17th and had everything closed 2 days later by March 19th.
Yes.
We never had one case of COVID-19 in Montezuma County until March the 28th, and our businesses were shut down unnecessarily for an extra 2 weeks while the state was doing this without one case here.
Yeah.
And I think the state ought to be held liable for those 2 weeks of damage to our businesses.
Without one COVID-19 case being present in our county and still closing those businesses. I think it's been discriminatory. I think what the state has done has been so discriminatory as to who they've said can open and who has to be closed. I think it's discrimination from the very beginning. And I think it's time for Montezuma County, and I hope the entities, the communities in Montezuma County of Cortez, Mancos, and Dolores view this the same as the commissioners, I think, view this, that it's time to quit deluding ourselves about this pandemic being present in our county and let our businesses that are about to default and go bankrupt and close their doors forever, give them a chance to open up and at least to a 40%, at least to a survivable amount of business in their businesses before they disappear, before they vanish.
Well, and that is the purpose of this letter. We had the meeting with CDPHE, and if anybody with any common sense was to have watched that, it's on our YouTube. I encourage you to watch that. The questions that we asked for why we were denied the variance, there was no answers. The people that are making the decisions for the way that we are living our lives right now do not have answers. And it's time for this community to take care of itself. I got to tell you, I'm going to be a little more, I'm fed up. And I am so heartbroken to hear my neighbors and these business owners. This here is to the businesses as well that aren't open, and kudos to those that what you're trying to do. But we've got churches that aren't open that need to be open. We've got a swimming pool that instead of just saying we're closing the swimming pool for the year, what is a swimming pool? It's got chlorine. Is chlorine not the main ingredient of Clorox, which is what we're using to sanitize? Can the people that are running the city of Cortez not look at the swimming pool and say, instead of we're closing it for 2020, look and say, let's just kind of see how we can make this work where we can still get those kids out there and the people in the swimming lanes? And to the Ute tribe, I've had multiple Ute tribe members that have contacted me, and I want to tell you, you are our friends, you are our neighbors, and you are being treated like you are in a prison. You can't even go up on your own sacred mountain. They have closed the road. And you people, we feel for you. We encourage you. This is your community as well. And there is a few members that are controlling the Ute tribe that are going over their authority, and they are treating you like you're prisoners. We have 3 deaths saying that now in Montezuma County. When we know for a fact that our coroner and the pathologist, did I say that right?
Pathologist.
Has concluded 100% that that gentleman died from alcohol poisoning. He drank so much alcohol. In fact, there was a level, Commissioner Tell knows that it's 3.
Toxic level is 0.3 BAC, and this gentleman had 0.55. So he was almost double a toxic level of alcohol.
Yes, and on the Johns Hopkins website, it is showing the Montezuma County has 3 deaths for COVID-19. That is a lie, ladies and gentlemen. That is a lie. We have 2 deaths from COVID-19. If they're lying about those 2 deaths, how many are they lying about how many actually have COVID-19? It's a secret society. Nobody knows. Our Dr. Aiken yesterday, I encourage everybody to watch the video, but he said that one of the denials was our homeless population. And if you look about 18 minutes into that video, he said, well, there was associates of the person that died. Well, how could he know if they are associates of the person that died if the person was dead? They weren't tested yet. There's no way that Dr. Aiken could know if the 2 recent tests. I'm going to come out and say it. I'm saying that Dr. Aiken lied. Dr. Aiken lied to the people. Otherwise, and I encourage everybody to go back to that video and look. It's getting out of control. Montezuma County, in my opinion, if our health department goes and finds somebody, and if it's not justified, I feel like Montezuma County should pay the fine. And I feel like, so if they find a business $1,000, Montezuma County should pay the $1,000. If they find them $2,000, Montezuma County should pay the $2,000. And then at the end of the day, Montezuma County, if the fines add up to $20,000, $30,000, when we do their budget this fall, we should deduct their budget by that amount of money. I've had it. My neighbors have had it. And if we don't do something to help these people, then it's too late for them.
I think that one of the biggest concerns that I had in this variance for application is that we're being held hostage, and I said this yesterday in that meeting, basically for the sovereign nations, one within our own county and then 2 to the south of us, McKinley and San Juan County, which is their biggest concern for these denials. And I don't think that that's fair because of we actually are still in the state of Colorado, not the state of New Mexico,
Right.
Utah and Arizona. I understand that we border them.
But
What's going to change on the 25th if he comes out and says, okay, well, now everything is okay? Well, we geographically have not changed our borders, and they
No.
don't change.
No.
So to hold us hostage for those counties, and I do realize they're there, and I realize their counts are there, but they've been there for the last 60 days also, and we haven't seen that increase. So
Exactly,
there
Commissioner.
is,
That's exactly correct. They have been there. They've been our neighbors. They have traded in this town. They have come to the stores here, and we have seen no significant increase in our COVID-19 cases.
and then lastly, having to have us now for the variance, we now have to have one more signature to reapply for a variance, which we will never get because it's a sovereign nation, which is the Ute Mountain Ute tribe. So again, I don't feel that CDPHE and the answer, well, we didn't get any answers,
Yeah.
but.
Well, and I looked on the map yesterday that was sent out by the state, and I think I counted, if I remember correctly, 17 or 18 counties that are in the same position we are that have applied for variances, okay? They didn't show that we've been denied on that map as of yet, and I don't know how many of those other counties have been denied either. But out of all those counties, only 2 have been granted variances, and our governor made that a very poignant point in his talk with Donald Trump yesterday that, well, we've opened up Mesa County and Eagle County, and of course, Eagle County being the very first county in the state of Colorado to get the COVID virus. So we've got 17 other counties out there that feel like they want a variance to what this safer at home mandate by the governor is stating. And if they're no better off than we are, they're all going to get told no. It looks to me like if they, because CDPHE yesterday had no, I didn't see where if we resubmitted another variance request to them, I didn't see where we were going to get anywhere with them. I think they've got their mind locked down that this stays just as it is. And
Well, it's a time, if you look at, yesterday was the 13th, they wouldn't get us a response until the guidance we asked for until
right,
maybe the 18th.
right.
And on the 25th, they're going to reevaluate.
the
Well,
whole
the 25th is Memorial Day, the 26th. And I realize that the virus doesn't know borders. However, that state is in a lockdown mode. We're not talking about that state. We're talking about our county and our state. So they're
And-
dealing with it in their regards. People do move. I understand that. And as we've talked before, with testing, there will be increased in our county, but it was to not overwhelm our health system, which I think we've succeeded.
We've underwhelmed our health system.
Our
There's
health
none
system
there.
is prepared, and then
We've
we
underwhelmed
watch it. So
And
I don't think we'll get anywhere with CDPHE because the time frame it's too
They're not
short.
gonna- no.
Today's now the 14th,
they're not going
and
to.
they're going to reopen it, or they're going to rediscuss it on the 25th.
And I'd like to interject on this conversation a little bit. The healthcare system asked for time to prepare, and I commend our hospital. They have done an excellent job. They've
Yes, they
showed
have.
pictures of how they've got extra bays set up. They've had time to get what they need. They have prepared. This virus will not be gone in a week. It will not be gone in a month. It will not be gone in a year. It is part of life now. And if we're closed for another week, another month, another year, the virus is still going to be here, but our businesses will not.
That's a very good point. You're right, Shaq. The virus is with us now. It's just like the swine. It's like the flu. It's like H1N1. It's now going to be a fact of life for us going forward. And they're going to obviously come up with a vaccine. We don't know at what time or when, but it's going to be treated. You're going to go down and get your flu shot every year. You're going to go down and get your COVID-19 vaccine shot. It's going to be with us.
But
And
we
for
also
us,
can't mandate that either.
no.
So there are people that are going to pick and choose that. So
That's right,
I
they
agree.
are.
It is here to stay.
Right. And for us to destroy businesses in our community over that is, we don't know if we may, a lot of people recover from COVID-19. I don't know that our community and a lot of our businesses are going to recover from COVID-19. I think we're going to see a lot of them go away.
So one of the variances that was turned down as well was Logan County. Logan County, I visited with one of the commissioners from Logan County. The reason that they have 400 in some cases is because of a prison.
Oh, okay.
They're all contained in the prison, and the state moved the prisoners with COVID-19. So think about how ironic this is. Logan County's trying to open up their businesses. They have this high case number, which is contained in a prison, and the state was
It's
the ones
sitting
that
there.
caused it, and they won't open the businesses up because of it.
It's in a state-run facility, and they call
It's a
it.
state, they caused the COVID to spread because of their actions, and they were denied the variance. And I would assume that there is all kinds of situations similar to that about this and opening these businesses up. But we have an economic emergency here, and
Yep.
if we don't do something about it, it's going to be too late.
Yep.
And I would
agree.
also like to add, I'm kind of keeping an eye on the screen scrolling up, and people are blame shifting and pointing, and there's a few racist remarks going back and forth. The Board of County Commissioners, and I feel comfortable saying this, The Ute Mountain Ute Nation is not our enemies. They represent the Ute Mountain Ute Nation as much as any of the rest of the community, nor will they discriminate against people experiencing homelessness. They're working for everybody together, and we do not condone anybody that would use this as an opportunity to escalate racism or the targeting of any individuals.
Absolutely.
The Ute Mountain Tribe is our neighbors and our friends. I went to school with them. All of us have here. And the Navajo Nation is our friends, too.
Absolutely.
We are a community. We
Absolutely.
can't live without those folks.
They've been a part of our community, a part of our economic base. They've traveled and traded here forever, ever since this was a community and a town and a county. So they're as tightly involved with us as we are with them. And I guess that's why it just baffles me why we're all of a sudden now saying, or CDPHE, not us, CDPHE is saying, well, because we have such high rates in the Navajo Nation and McKinley County and our surrounding border states, that all of a sudden we're in harm's way, we're in great jeopardy. They have been coming here and trading with us the whole time that this pandemic has been going on. There's not been one reason why those people have not come to our community and shopped at Walmart, City Market, hardware store, wherever. It's been going on. So why now? Why now is CDPHE saying we're at such great risk now? Well, if we were at such great risk, it would have been happening long before today. Since we've been under this deal for 60 days, it just doesn't, the numbers don't add up. It doesn't add up for us. 9 active cases in Montezuma County.
We need our gyms opened up. We need our churches
as of
opened
right
up.
now.
We need
You
our
know,
swimming
restaurant.
pool opened up. It's ridiculous, and it's time.
Yep.
Is there any other comments, commissioners? Is there any public comment?
Okay. Be
Does he
sure
turn
and
that
turn,
on?
be sure and turn that
Yeah,
microphone on.
be sure to turn that
Rob.
on and give your name and address.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, take the one off the table.
Sorry, Rob, it's been a while since we got to use those things.
If it turns red, it's on?
There you are. It's got
there
you.
I am. Rob Pope, I'm at 311 North Broadway. I give that address because that's an address here in town. My home is in the county, but I have a business here. But I just want to talk about a couple of points that came to my attention yesterday. I have a friend down in Albuquerque that called the people who run the campground at Groundhog. Now, Groundhog's Dolores County, that's not us. But Dolores County took a non-refundable deposit from them to camp there Memorial Weekend. And she called me up, she says, I just got off the website and says Colorado won't let us in. What am I supposed to do? Well, is the campground open at Groundhog? And I'm just asking, it's rhetorical, I'll expect an answer. You guys probably don't know.
I can answer that. I think it is slated to open up on the 16th. What is this weekend? But
The 16th is
I
Saturday.
think
Yeah,
it
today's
is
the
opening up on the
14th.
16th.
But they have to travel into the state. They're out of state. According to them, Colorado's locked down. We're not supposed to have people travel into the state. Is that correct?
Well, I think if you look at that 10-mile travel restriction, you're probably right.
So then the question is, we have a great reservoir here. What's the situation with camping at McPhee? Are the campgrounds open?
I know the marina, I know that the launch ramps are open. They were open this past week by the Forest Service. They opened.
And if I remember correctly, I could look at Derek's email, but I think they were trying to open them up at the middle of the month too, correct?
Yeah,
The campgrounds.
well.
Correct. Well, and I would have to reread that email, but I believe that they did send us an email on when those are starting to open up. So the boat ramp opened up last Friday, I think on the 4th, and then their campgrounds were starting to open up down the road. So it could be this weekend or the 16th, 17th also.
Is our county health department run by our county, or is it run by the state?
It's supposed to be run by us, and we have
Who writes their paycheck?
we write their paycheck.
But a lot of their funding comes from state grants. It's a convoluted arrangement. A lot of their funding comes from state grants and different types of grants.
Most of the funding, I think it's an 80-20, correct me?
No,
if I'm
that's
wrong.
social services.
Oh, social services.
Yeah, social services is 80-20, but they're grant funded to a large degree. Salary and payroll and that sort of stuff, Rob, is through the county.
But you guys have no direct control over those guys. Those guys can go out there and write citations.
We do have control because we can fire them.
Okay, I don't want to get in there. I just want to
No,
make
you're
a
asking me a
point. I want to make a point. Who runs our county here? But that's why I want it to be just out there. Who does run our county? You know, it's us, not the state.
Under executive order, the state authority went to CDPHE, which is why we are handcuffed. That's
Oh, I understand. No, I'm not confused about the
Only handcuff
situation.
if you let them handcuff you.
But so I'm going to use a phrase that somebody just used this morning, and I'll steal it from him. When I rode into town this morning, it looked like a line from Disneyland, people buying weed. And I don't care if people buy weed. I care less. I'm happy the weed shops are here. I don't care. But it's the same with the liquor stores. It's the same with the grocery stores. And one thing that wasn't mentioned in the conversation was the feed stores and the ag stores. You go to Big R, you go to IFA, those stores are packed with people from our neighbors, the Ute and the Navajo Nation. And when you walk into those stores, people mingle, this is nonsense. We're just killing the underlying base of what we're doing. And I don't know what to do about it. You know, you talk about civil disobedience and doing what you want and going against the grain and telling public officials to go pound sand. And, you know, people get scared. They think they're going to end up in handcuffs and they think they're going to do it. You know what? And I'm not advocating for anything. But I'm saying just what you just said. You're only handcuffed if you're allowed to be handcuffed. And with the situation in this county and what has happened to the underlying base of businesses in here, other than big business, it is despicable because we don't have what's going on in major metropolitan areas. This one-size-fits-all stuff just doesn't work. And I don't know what to do, and I'm not here to bash the health department either. You know, those guys follow the stuff that rolls downhill, you know. They got people telling them what to do too. So I don't have an answer, but I do what I want to do. I'm tired of it too. I'm sick of being told what to do by people who have no idea what's going on in this community. And not only do they have no idea, they really don't care. You know, we don't care what you think or what you're doing. You're just going to follow the rules because we told you to. It's getting really sad. But anyway, that's my comment.
No, very good comments, Rob. But you know, something that is sad, you talked about the health department doing everything. The Dolores seniors, 23 or 27 of them, had a plan for graduation with cars. And Montezuma County's health department, at the last minute, yanked that plan. And this is how it worked. Every 15 minutes, a kid was supposed to go into the stage, stand on the stage, and give a speech to 5 administrators.
It's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. But yet you can go down here to Burger Boy, and you can park 25 cars around each other. That's what's wrong here. You will never, those 27 seniors, or however many there was in Dolores, because of Montezuma County's health department, will never, ever get to have that experience of a graduation again. It was taken away from them, from somebody that doesn't care, in my opinion.
Well, I just hope the citizens of Montezuma County realize that the only power that goes to the government entities comes from the people. It's us. It's not them. And when them get out of control, it's us that needs to take care of it. And some of this stuff is just crazy nonsense. If I can go stand in line to buy a bag of weed, I should be able to go to a restaurant and buy some food. You know, it's just stupidity. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And it's destroying people around here. And in all honesty, I don't even know why people comply. I really don't get it. I don't have a restaurant and bar. You know, I have a neighbor that does, and I know what her struggles are. And it's just, you see this stuff going around where people congregate, and this is okay, but this isn't. You know, anyway, guys, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Commissioners, appreciate your efforts in this direction.
Thank you, Rob. We appreciate the comments. Well, commissioners, we need to make a decision on the letter. A vote? Any other
Oh, I thought,
discussion?
on the one that we just,
Did we already make the decision? Did we already vote on it?
I thought we did.
I don't think we have.
But if not, then,
I think we need to have a vote on this, yeah.
then I guess that we would put this letter out to the citizens of Montezuma County that Shaq read earlier, to be posted on our website.
Yes, and I think copies of this should be sent to CDPHE, the governor's office. And I would second that motion.
So we've got a motion and a second to approve the letter statement from Montezuma County about the economic emergency that we are currently experiencing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. You know, there's a comment that keeps coming up here, I'm reading the feed, saying that we need to make a joint statement to the, and it's about the false COVID test that we all know that is false, that they are saying is a death. And that is the gentleman that died in the park. Do we know if they have listed it at the state? I know that Commissioner Cameron,
I saw it last night on the Johns Hopkins website
And
as
it is
3
listed
deaths,
on
but I
CDPHE's
do not
website
know if it
also.
was listed on the state.
So that is an outright lie. So how can we address that? We know for a fact, we know
Our coroners.
our coroner,
pathologist.
and you just, I mean, the state can't get away with that. They can't get away with calling something a COVID death when it isn't a
When it
COVID
was
death.
proven medically that it wasn't,
Through the pathologist.
through the pathologist.
Through an
yes.
autopsy.
Through an autopsy, exactly.
Yeah, so,
Through it.
I don't know if,
Well-
can we send a, I don't know if
John-
we make it.
Let's ask John Baxter how we should, John,
John, what
how-
can we do about that? What can we show our,
I
how
feel
can we
like,
show?
the county's already expressed everything it can express about what the distinction was. I think our local website, the county's website, indicated that there was a positive, but it wasn't a cause of death. That's what was mandated to be reported to the state. And so the state got the information like that the person was positive, but it was not the cause of death. As far as how they report it, I don't know what else we can do. I mean, we corrected them.
Okay.
So if they continue to publish that and put that in their numbers, I think then maybe Commissioner Sukla is on the correct track. How can you believe any of their numbers? If they're willing to falsify a number and publish it, and they know it goes against medical opinion of a pathologist, and they're still willing to publish it as a third COVID death in Montezuma County, how then can we trust any of their other numbers?
Exactly.
I mean, that to me just slaps you right in the face, that they don't care, they don't care about the truth, apparently.
Anything else for the order of the good, commissioners, for this meeting?
I think we've said a lot.
I think we're headed down the direction.
Commissioners, I should add, just to make sure that it's clear to anybody who's listening, that the BOCC doesn't have the only authority to enforce the governor's or state's orders. So just because the county chooses not to doesn't mean that somebody is immune from prosecution. There's certainly other legal authorities that are available to prosecute them. So I don't want everybody to just rely on Montezuma County's assertion that they won't necessarily prosecute.
And I guess we also need to leave this meeting with some clarity about the municipalities, Mancos, Dolores, and Cortez. We do not have governance in those communities. They're part of Montezuma County, and we can put down whatever our statement for the county that we want it to be and should be. But the city, the municipalities, the city of Cortez is under a home rule. They're separate from the state, and so they still have their own guidelines as to how they're going to treat things and what they're going to do and what they will open, just like with the golf course. They had that all closed, and then they, not due to us, but due to their own volition, they opened the golf course, and I understand they may open some of their pickleball courts to a minimal amount. But we as a county, we state for the county, which we govern over IFA and those businesses in the county, but the municipalities still have to, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, they still have their own set of governing rules, regulations, and ordinances and codes that they still have say-so in what's done within the boundaries of those municipalities. Is that not correct?
No, of course, that's correct. And even over that, there's also an elected district attorney, there's an elected attorney general, who also have some powers as well.
And that was a good point, because I know that the town of Dolores feels after their meeting on Monday that they feel tighter restrictions are necessary, but that does not come from us as the BOCC. That does come from those municipalities, Mancos, Dolores, and Cortez, just as you stated.
Right.
We have no governance in those.
But then I got a great question from one of our viewers out there. It says, where do restaurants stand with licensure from county health and state health? And that's exactly what happened up in Quebec. They put a restraining order. I think the restaurant that was opened up in somewhere in the metropolitan area on Mother's
CNC
Day.
Castle
Rock. I think that, so that's an excellent question. They're within the municipality, and yet their licensure and the health regulations and the health inspector are from the county. So we've got this blended, overlapping situation with businesses that are within municipalities, and yet the county and the state has tremendous say-so in how they operate, if they can operate. Because I think once they jerk that state license to operate you're supposedly out of business if you don't keep that state licensure.
And I think it is a state license, but I am not 100% sure.
And I know the county
within
health
the
department inspects
municipalities.
them to make sure that they're inspected and meet the state health standards, so.
Well, in the
I don't
end,
know, it's a convoluted deal.
go ahead, John.
I wasn't saying anything.
All right, yeah, we understand, and the letter reads that, but we want, what we can do as a board is what we want to do is to help our businesses, our churches, and our gyms, what isn't opened, our restaurants. What we have authority over, that's what we want to help them with. There is some authorities that are being talked about by Commissioner Tell that we have no authority over. But if our community doesn't get back living their life, we're going to go, the devastation will be we've never seen nothing like it. And we're behind you.
Yeah.
We're behind our neighbors. It just makes us sick to our stomach with the beating they have taken.
Yep.
And hopefully this letter will be a wake-up call. So,
I just want to reiterate one more time, do not be mad at your neighbors. Do not use this to escalate racial tensions or to discriminate against anyone. If you want to be mad at someone, be mad at Denver.
anything else, Commissioners?
I have nothing.
I'm all in.
How about, could I entertain a motion?
Move that we adjourn.
Second?
There's been a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.